All right, we are ready to go. All right, we all know how this works. If you have a question, use the raise your hand emoji and I will call on you. Not all at once. All right, there we go. Ryan Carchi.
Hey, Lincoln. When we talked to Eric Gentry on Thursday, he seemed pretty happy just in general with the coaching staff changes, the new scheme. I guess I was just curious from your perspective how you feel like his skill set, being that it is so unique, has kind of meshed with the new scheme, the new people running this defense.
Yeah, I think just generally speaking, I think our players have really felt, again, we've talked about a bunch, but the patience of the install, how deliberate it's been, intentional it's been, detail oriented. So I think that's given our guys a lot of confidence when they hit the field that even though they don't have a lot of reps banked in it yet, they feel like they know it and understand it. And a confidence comes with that as a player. And then, yeah, Eric specifically is a unique skill set. I think one of Coach Lynn's, real strengths, as well as the other assistants on our staff, is the ability to adapt to your talent, the ability to use talent in different ways. And so, yeah, I think he's certainly a talent that's, and a skill set you don't typically see at linebacker, a body type, all of that. And so, yeah, I think excited about some of the different things that he could potentially do for our defense if he continues to improve, because our guys certainly are creative enough to find really good ways to use him. And I think that excites him. I think it excites a number of guys on our squad that can provide some advantages for us in the fall.
Thanks.
Timothy?
Mhm.
Yeah, hi, Coach. Offensive line play was problematic last year. They never really quite gelled during the season. What positives you take away from the Holiday Bowl, and what are you guys working on specifically this spring to help to get this unit ready for LSU in Game 1?
Yeah, we had a handful of games last year we didn't play good enough. A handful of the games that we lost. Probably Oregon, Notre Dame. Certainly were a couple that UCLA, we certainly didn't play good enough in those games to win. We had some good moments, but we were too inconsistent. And I would agree. I don't know that we ever completely gelled as a unit. So, yeah, I think it's, one, I think it starts with your older players. Your older guys, your leaders have got to play their best. They got to be great leaders. They've got to set the tone. And I think at times last year that did not necessarily happen all the time. So that's obviously Jonah. If you're talking about Pregnon, some of the guys like that are that have now played some snaps for us. Mason Murphy, you need those guys to step up, and then you need your young talent to come along. And we got some really talented young guys. We talked about Paige. Obviously, we talked about Alani. Amos, Mike Emanuelos. Killian, and there's a number of guys there that have the ability to be really, really good players, in addition to obviously all the freshmen that we're bringing in. So, yeah, it starts at the top. We got to coach them better. I got to coach them better. Josh has got to coach them better. The guys have got to lead better. The young talent's got to rise up better, and it's got to gel to where we're not a group that just plays well in 8 or 9 games. We need to be a group that does it all the time. The bowl game was a great start. We played pretty well up front in the bowl game with some new pieces against a pretty darn good defensive line, and certainly got the upper hand in that game. So that was a great start with some of these new guys, and but it's like it's like the D line, man. It's one of those positions in your program that if you're going to be great year to year, that one's got to continue to take steps and be really, a foundational piece of your program. And so that's been the goal. I think talent wise, we're getting better in that room each year as it goes on. But we also obviously got to put it together and be very cohesive as well.
Thanks, Coach.
Chukni?
Muted myself. Hey, Lincoln, going off that offensive line, you mentioned Jonah. We're a little over halfway through spring now. How do you think he's progressing at that center position? How is that transition going for him?
I thought he would do well. He's been further along than I probably if I really got pinned down to it, probably a little further along than I thought he would be. He's taken to it fast. He really has. And it's just one of those positions it's hard to predict until a guy does it, because it's so different than playing the other four. I mean, all of a sudden with the communication, with having to snap the ball, there's a lot to it. And some guys really grasp it quick and can handle it all. And some guys struggle a little bit with it. For example, like last 2 years, I would look back and say Justin Dedich was a really, really good guard for us. He was a little bit better of a guard than the center. Jonah, it's been interesting. We played Jonah a little bit at guard at times in his career, and it's been solid. He was a little bit better at tackle probably than guard, but then center, I feel like he's really it's just, I don't know, he's just really done well. He's done good with the movements. He's done good with snapping. He's learning to really play in the interior when he's taking every snap in there, which has been great for him. And but he's mentally so far along and knows our stuff so well. That's a great starting point. But he's handled the physical demands of it very, very well so far.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan?
Hey, Lincoln, we've talked a ton about the offseason strength and weight gains, but not so much about Benny in particular. You obviously evaluated the staff and made a bunch of changes, but you stuck with Benny in that role. Just kind of what was your confidence in him being the right guy to continue to build this team, body-wise?
Because he's always done with the team what we've asked him to do. I've watched him do it for over 20 years. I've watched him develop guys. I've watched him take whatever plan in place with the coaching staffs and the schemes and all that. And I've watched him. I mean, he's had success at every place he's been. I mean, the development he did with our guys at Texas Tech back in the day was, I mean, to have that program up to where, competing for a national championship was a major climb. And he was a key figure in that. He was a key figure in all the wins and championships and all the stuff at Oklahoma. He was a key figure in really flipping our roster around from a 4-win team to 11-win team our first year here. He's a tremendous human being. He's a great leader, man. He's widely respected in our program and nationally. And so that was honestly wasn't much of a decision to make.
Good answer. Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Luca?
Hey, Lincoln, just curious on Eric Henderson, a guy who kind of shared with us a really pretty incredible backstory, when he was first introducing himself to us and to media the first time he spoke, and in your conversations with him, that sort of thing, have you ever, discussed that sort of backstory with him, just as far as kind of growing up on his own, and how much of that do you see kind of just playing into, the realness that he carries about him, and, those conversations that he has with recruits and them seeing that in him?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we talked about it. He shared some of that with me pretty early when we first started getting to know each other. I think it just kind of tells you a little bit about, who he is. And, they talk about like people's why, kind of what motivates them. And I think a lot of Eric's, derives from that. And yeah, I mean, I think he's he's a very transparent guy. He is with recruits. He is with the players. He is, with his fellow coaches. I think people appreciate that about him. He's passionate and he's very passionate, very confident about what he does, but he's put in a lot of hard work just to put himself in this position. He's had to fight to get to where he's at. And I think you always appreciate that, versus people that were maybe just handed something or maybe kind of, maybe born into something. He's had to scrap, and you can tell, and he doesn't mind. It certainly doesn't mind hard work and doesn't mind a challenge, and so yeah, no, it's obviously a great story, and he's been certainly a great fit with us here so far.
Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.
Antonio?
Hey, Lincoln, it seems like you guys are the deepest you've been at safety since you've been at USC. Just what could you tell us about some of kind of the more unheralded guys like a Christian Pierce or Anthony Beavers who impressed in the Holiday Bowl?
Yeah, those guys are doing well. I mean, you're right. It's a good group. You got some returners that have played some good ball for us. With Bryson, Beavers has played some good ball for us. Excited to see him. We're also working him at a little bit of linebacker as well. He's a smart kid, and he's always had that body that's a little bit of a little bit of in between, right? A safety and a backer. And so, we're working him at some different positions. He's got a great skill set, and has always been a great tackler, really physical player for us. So, been excited about his progress and ability to play at different spots. Pierce has been able to do quite a few things this spring, probably a little bit more than we anticipated after the shoulder surgery. And so he's not in the full contact, but he's able to do just about everything else. So we've been pleased that we're getting more out of him than maybe we thought. It's great having some of the experience back there with certainly Bryson, with Akili, with Kamari. Those guys have really done a nice job. And then obviously can't wait to get Zion back. It's been fun to see Boatwright and Gallegos and some of the young cats that we brought in as well. So now there's some competition. There's some guys that can move around and play different positions. It's good to see that room, start to beef up.
Ryan?
Two freshmen who have stood out just physically have been Jide Abasiri and Cam Fountain. What have they showed you on the field, and how close are they to maybe being able to contribute as freshmen?
Yeah, they both really improved so much physically just in the couple of months they've been here. I mean, their before and afters from walking in here in January to now are kind of almost shockingly different, given the amount of time. Jade's done well. He's learning it. He's practicing inside for us right now. A lot of this was foreign to him, but he's got some natural movements and abilities and kind of power for a guy his size and ability to kind of leverage some of that power that's really impressive. The transition from high school to playing in the interior O-line or D-line in college is a big one. But like his good plays right now are like you kind of, your eyes get big, like it's exciting. Now they're a little too few and far in between, which is normal for a freshman. But he just gets better every day. He's a hard worker. He's a great kid. Got a very bright future, as does Cam. Cam is working a little bit more on the edge for us. Another guy that's really improved his body. Cam has a little bit of an edge about him, the way he plays the game already as a young guy, which is a great sign. He's learning fast. A lot of this is very new for him, but he's picking it up quickly. He's intent. He's an intense kid. And yeah, you feel kind of that edge and that competitiveness and kind of not backing down in any way, shape, or form. So now physically, I mean, those guys that's how you draw it up. I mean, that's what you want, both interior and on the edge. And so it's just about development right now. They're getting developed by the best. So it's just a matter of time.
Nice.
We're going to wrap it up with these last hands. So Tim?
There's been a lot of speculation about the left side of the line, but I was hoping maybe give some clarity on the right side of the offensive line, specifically the development of Tobias Raymond and what you're seeing on that right side.
Yeah, I mean, the right side, we're working, we're working Alani, we're working Amos. When Gino gets back, we'll certainly work Gino some, at the guard position. At right tackle, it's mostly, Murphy is taking the majority of the reps with the ones right now. If we played today, he would certainly be the starter, no question about it. Tobias has definitely gotten better. I mean, no doubt. He put on a lot of weight when he got here. He needed that first year to learn to play. He needed that first year to kind of settle into his body a little bit. And he is much, much improved. I mean, much improved. We like his track. We knew he was a developmental kid when we took him. We knew it was going to take for sure 1 year to be ready to start to get real reps and to really start to compete. And we're kind of in the beginning stages of that right now. But he's a smart kid that's getting better fast. Football is important to him. He has ability. He's got the length, the size, kind of all you want. So kind of like, obviously a little ahead of where Jade and Cam were, but I mean, it's kind of similar. Like you bring a guy that has got the tools, and then it's just to climb up. And he is definitely heading in a great direction on all accounts. And, if he keeps improving and really, as he finishes spring strong and has a great summer, he'll position himself to be able to contribute for us next fall.
Thanks.
Luca?
Lincoln, is from a big picture perspective, as you kind of look out at, starting to play in the Big Ten, X months out, how much of right now, we've talked a lot about the weight gain, what have you, but how much of is there a balance between, you know, running this program the way that you know how to run a program as a head coach and the trajectory that you've tried to follow at USC versus, knowing that you're entering a new conference with a different style of play and, wanting to kind of adapt how you run a program towards that from a big picture perspective, how do those kind of factors play into each other?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a big story on the outside. I get it. I mean, I know we're playing some different people and there'll be a few different things schematically and all that. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like sometimes it gets made out in the media that like the Big Ten is like some like wildly different deal of like it's football. Like it's still so a couple of teams play with one more tight end. Like big deal. Like I mean, I think for us it's more our evolution as a program, and I have not shied away from the day I took the job here, but we came here to win national championships, like period. And if you're going to win national championships, you have to be able to beat anybody and everybody. And for us to do that as a program, like we have needed to take steps in certain areas that I honestly feel like we would be taking, whether the Pac-12 was still in existence and moving along as we know it, or if something like this happened and we ended up making a change as we obviously did. So I mean, we're not overlooking the fact that we're certainly playing new places and some new people and all that. Of course, you got to be ready. I mean, that's competition and finding ways to beat your competition, to give yourself a leg up is part of what we do every single day. So we're not discounting it, but this is not like oh my God, we're going to the Big Ten. We got to scrap all the plans and start this. Like it's not. It's just it's not to that extent, I guess, if that makes sense. So I'm just trying to give you a real sense of kind of our approach and kind of what it's like here day to day. So aware and certainly have to be ready. But I do think 95% of the stuff we're doing, we would be doing anyways. And it is just trying to climb to get to the place that we want to go.
Thanks, Lincoln.
And we'll wrap it up with Chukni.
Lincoln, how did Jaden Richardson first come on your guys' radar, especially coming from a lower division school? And how is he kind of fitting into this receiver group now?
Yeah, we had somebody. I'll be honest, I don't know that I could quote exactly who it was, but we had a mutual contact in the business that we knew we were in the market for some older receivers and certainly wanted to add some bodies in that room. And yeah, we got a hold of his film. We liked what we saw. When we started studying the kid and getting to know the kid, we liked the way he was made up. We liked his approach. His mindset kind of coming in here, and it was just, I think, a natural fit for both sides right off the top. So we didn't worry too much about the where he'd played and all that. I mean, you could turn on the tape and see that this kid could play, and he was a tough, competitive kid. And when you talk to him, we just felt like he was made up and wired the way that really fits what we want and need in this program. So certainly glad we found him. It's a big step up for him, but he looks very ready for it. I mean, I don't. He's certainly, his feet have gotten on the ground now. I mean, for sure. Like you could tell he's settling in with the guys and it's just ball now, man. He's gonna be a good player for us. He's versatile. He's a smart, tough kid that's done some really nice things so far in spring.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, media. Hope you have a great rest of your Saturday. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.